Hi everyone, thanks for having me out this evening. It's a pleasure to be able to speak to you. I really like this picture, by the way, because it sort of confirms that, I don't always wear a t-shirt. When I do, it's a Dev shirt. So I'm an executive director. I work in the office of the Chief Information Officer in the government of British Columbia. I've been a public servant for 27 years. In the earliest stages of my career as a software developer, computer programmer, I'm an IT guy, and I'm somewhat billed as the chief troublemaker on new IT initiatives within the BC government. And I can unfold one of those pieces of the puzzle for you tonight. I was told in rehearsal that this was going to be a constrained presentation, 5 minutes and 5 slides. And in a very non-traditional move for me, I accepted those constraints. So get through it. So the BC Developers Exchange, the concept behind this was to respond to our observation that government was moving too slow. And we were looking for a way to speed up the rate of change and improvement and innovation in government services. And compounding that, we were staring every day at a tech sector and an innovation economy that was growing up in our own backyard and on the internet, where all the good ideas seemed to be coming from someone else, somewhere else, and we couldn't even adopt them, let alone step into the equation and co-create them. And so the Developer Exchange is intended to be an open platform where we can step into a co-creation, co-design, co-development equation with our own innovators in our own economy. And it tries to set up the idea of a win-win. There's a way for public service to improve, there's a way to sponsor new opportunities for entrepreneurs and innovators in the community, and there's a win for the citizens because they get a much better experience from the things that result from that collaboration. So that was kind of the Dev Exchange in a nutshell. One of the things coming to you tonight that I observed is you can often see what we're doing because there's like visible things kind of pop up on the net, but you don't often see why or how. And so I thought I would share with you sort of a 3-part motivation that we have for doing what I talked about. It's not so much the Dev Exchange. Dev Exchange happens to be a thing we're implementing. But to solve this problem, how do we speed up the rate of innovation and change in public service? How do we step into a co-creation equation? How do you do this? We've noticed that it really is about these 3 ideas. And we challenge our organization with these questions. Right? What are you doing to move your people and their work into the open? Wow, that is a nasty challenge in the public sector. Right? It's not how we're accustomed to operating. We live behind our firewalls, we live in our offices, we live behind our processes. So that's a very large change. Move your people and your work into the open. With that in hand, discover and then join the community. And we have found that that's a shocking statement to make to traditional departments. They don't know what you're talking about, community. And so we say, no, get on that task, go discover. Reach out, crawl around. Right? And our experience is, there's a community for everyone. There is one out there. So you can do that with confidence. You can know that if you take the effort to crawl around, you will discover a community. So then join it. And then the last idea was, so now that you're part of the community, collaborate, but most importantly, begin to contribute. And we have a lot of people in the public service that are coming to these ideas of openness, and really they have this gleam in their eye of getting something for free. Right? Right? And so we're saying, no, we're pursuing value, we're pursuing opportunity together. It's incumbent on us in the public sector to find a way to contribute. And you get the axiom, right? Everything you contribute, you get like a 3x return on top of that. So really, in the next set of ideas, I'm really just unpacking for you one of the ways that we're about doing those 3 things. Okay? Because there's a variety of ways. And I actually have the theory that any way that you can find to do that is a good way. Okay, so I'm just going to unpack like one way. So for us, it started with the idea of moving into the open. Okay, and so we're now set up in GitHub. Hands up, GitHub. People know GitHub. 28 million developers signed. Okay. One of the things we learned doing the recon for figuring out how to do this idea, Dev Exchange, is we started to talk to tech entrepreneurs and businesses in our own province. And we learned that they were super uninterested in coming to us. They were not going to. And so we thought, well, where are they all hanging out? And so we're going to have to find a way to go to them. And we settled on this as one of the thems, one of the places to go, okay? So today, there are 303 code repositories published by the province of British Columbia, all under the Apache 2 open source license. Many of those are complete running systems. But in terms of community, one of the departments that has embraced this is the environmental reporting part of the Ministry of Environment. And so they're able to conduct their research now and do it in the open and release their data sets, their R scripts, their code, and they're able to transact and engage their community around building indicators like a caribou tracker and a groundwater levels indicator. We have another group that's working on a world-leading distributed ledger blockchain platform for business information. And that's a collaboration that's going on between the BC government, the Ontario government, and the federal government, but also the Hyperledger Indy project that's part of the Linux Foundation, which is a global initiative. And so with this openness, you can discover a community and begin to step in and collaborate. We also had to solve a problem around procurement. And so we learned that BC firms were not interested in coming working with the government of British Columbia because they could not afford to do so. They could not tolerate our lengthy processes and expensive processes. So we were building new procurement transactions at the developer exchange. The first one is Code with Us. It's about micro procurement, super small things, programming assignments. We can stand up in the government a problem, invite the world to type a proposal. You can be a dev, you type a 200-word proposal, we tag your proposal as the best one, you cut the code, we merge the code, we pay you. And we can do that up to $70,000. We do that in GitHub. And the next procurement method we just introduced this year is called Sprint with Us. It's a straight shot way to go to market with the intent to contract for a fully formed, ready to roll, agile software development team. The first of these we did in June. The opportunity closed on June 6th, and we awarded the contract on June 20th. We completed the procurement cycle in 19 calendar days. It's all standardized and cookie cuttered out, and it's standing there. It's our first version. We have some work to do, so low expectations, please. But it's a response to the fact that it's too hard to work with the public sector. It's not rewarding enough, and we need to be able to work together in a more open, collaborative manner. Thanks, everyone.